Republic. That's today's topic, and I will take you through everything from like why you have to register, who exactly needs to get registered, which is basically everyone, but I'll get into the details, where, how, what documents you need, and some other details. So thank you very much, guys, for joining the live stream or for watching the recording. And also, as you know, you can ask me questions in the live and I will answer them if they are topical. So today about the foreign police registration. If you have any other questions, you can always become a joiner, a member, pay $8 a month, and I will be answering your questions there every live stream after the public one. Now, let's jump right into the topic. Registering at the foreign police is mandatory basically for everyone who comes to the Czech Republic, like foreigners who come to the Czech Republic. So obviously not for Czech citizens, but even EU citizens, Slovaks, and even if you come for one single day, if you come here for a concert or for sports event, whatever, you should officially be registered with the foreign police. Why? That depends. There are a couple different reasons. And it also depends on if you're an EU citizen or non-EU citizen, because for EU citizens, nothing really will happen if you don't register other than that you break a law. But for non-EU citizens, it can also have other implications, because if you break the law, then it might be more difficult for you, or sometimes even impossible, to get your next visa approved because you've already got one visa and broken the law using that visa. So for non-EU citizens, it is way more important, but basically everyone should get registered. There are some reasons for that, like statistics that the ministry knows, or the government knows how many foreigners are at the territory of the Czech Republic every day, every year, and they also can track individuals to see who comes to the Czech Republic, what kind of people. There might be some people who are flagged as wanted or whatever, so kind of a question if they would go register with the foreign police as a wanted person. But yeah, it also prevents illegal migration, and it also helps like find illegal immigration basically in some sense. So generally speaking, non-EU citizens coming to the Czech Republic must get registered within 3 business days with the foreign police. EU citizens have up to 30 days to get registered. If you don't get registered, you might get fined up to 3,000 crowns, plus all the other implications I've talked about, like, for example, complicating your any future visa applications. Who does not need to get registered? There are a couple categories of people who don't need to get registered, the main one is if you're a tourist and you're staying in some official accommodation facility, so hotel, hostel, Airbnb, or dormitory, or like some similar official facility. They have to get you registered on your behalf. That's why you usually fill in this white paper at the reception with your name, passport number, all that, because that's the information the hotel, hostel, or good Airbnb needs for the foreign police. So if you stay in some official accommodation facility, you don't have to go physically register yourself, because the accommodation facility will do it on your behalf. But if you, for example, come here to visit a friend and you stay with them, even for one day, again, if you just come here and go back, then you still should go to the foreign police, because your friend will most likely not get you registered. So you have to go. Second thing, or second group of people who don't have to get registered is EU citizens who already hold the registration certificate or the permanent residence permit. Because in that case, this is a stronger thing, so you don't have to get registered every time you come here. But technically, if you are an EU citizen and you don't have the registration certificate, formerly known as temporary residency or temporary residence certificate, still like this folded piece of paper, you should always go to the foreign police when you cross the border. So let's say you go visit your parents in Germany and for a weekend, and then you come back on Monday, you should go to the foreign police. Then you leave again next week. potentially you should go back to the foreign police and get registered, because they can always register you only for a specific period of time. And if you exceed that time, you need to go there again. So one of the reasons why you should get the registration certificate, if you don't know what it is, I will share a link. Let me actually mark it down to the registration certificate, RegCert. In the description of the video now there is an article about the foreign police registration. So if you don't like watching me talk, then you can go to the description of the video and there is a link to the whole article about the foreign police registration. But I'll put there also the registration certificate instructions, because that will make your life easier and it will very likely be mandatory from next year anyway. So you will need to get it as well. So why not to do it now and save yourself some trouble with the foreign police. So third group of people is non-EU citizens who already hold a long-term residence permit, temporary residence permit, or a permanent residence permit. If you have one of these, you don't have to go get registered with the foreign police. Usually only during the first time. It kind of applies to the long-term visas as well. But for those, you generally need to go the first time you enter the Czech Republic. So let's say you applied for a visa at the Czech embassy, you got it approved, you picked it up from the embassy, you go to the Czech Republic. So then within 3 days, you should go to the foreign police to get registered. So you still need to do it, but then you don't need to do it afterwards again. So you need to do it once, but if you then hold the residence card, you don't have to do it again. Where to get registered with the foreign police? So it depends obviously on where you live, but if you live in Prague, there is only one place where you can go. And that's in Prague 3 in Žižkov in Olšanská Street. And please don't confuse it with the Ministry of the Interior. Foreign police and Ministry of the Interior are two different things, two different authorities. They have separate agendas, different agendas. And the registration is primarily done with the foreign police. So if you normally go, or you've heard of Žukovského or Cigánkova or whatever else, you don't go there to get registered with the foreign police. In some cities, like in Plzeň, for example, I think it's in the same building that the foreign police and the Ministry of the Interior is in the same building. So you actually go to the same place, but you don't go to the same authority. But in Prague, you have to go only to this one specific foreign police branch, which is in Olšanská in Prague 3 in Žižkov. And if you live in Prague or Praha Východ or Praha Západ, which are like the outskirts of Prague, then you don't go to this place because that's only for the inner Prague, let's say, and you have to go to Zborovská, still go to Prague, but to the foreign police in Prague 5 in Zborovská, which is responsible for these areas like outside of Prague. But that would be a different story, because that's a bit weird of a branch and they usually don't want to do anything there with the registration. So we technically don't really need to go there because they will not register you anyway, but officially you should. And if you live in any other part of Prague, Prague 1, 2, 5, up to 7, why? Up to 10, then you have to go to the one in Olšanská. Again, in the description, you have a link to an article where you have all the details. I also included the opening hours, opening days. You have the photo of the building there, so you know where to go, how to get there, the closest tram stop. Everything is in the guide, which is in the description. Just keep in mind they are only open 3 days a week. Let me see, Monday, Wednesday and Thursday. So you can only go these 3 days at this point. And not all the other days. And they also change it. And sometimes they can also like close just because, I don't know, the computers don't work, or because there is some holiday, or because something else. And you just go there and they're closed anyway, even if they should be opened. So just count with that. That happens. Okay, then maybe one advice here would be don't go on Mondays, because obviously that's after Friday when it's closed, Saturday when it's closed, Sunday when it's closed. So usually on Monday that's the busiest day and you will wait, or you could potentially wait the longest. But if it's within 3 days and you just have to go on Monday, go on Monday. But if you can avoid that, don't go on Mondays. What to bring with you to the foreign police? So what documents you need to get registered with the foreign police? One, your passport and a valid visa if you have a visa. If you come here under the visa-free stay, like Americans, for example, Canadians, Australians who have the British, who have the 90 days visa-free exception, you still need to go to the foreign police if you're not staying in a hotel or hostel, but you just bring your passport because you don't have any visa in there. But if you came here under a short-term visa, Schengen visa, or under a long-term visa, you have to take that obviously with you as well. For EU citizens, you can either have a passport or your local ID. So if you're a Dutch person, you can just have like a Dutch ID or a Dutch passport. Then you need to fill in a registration form, and I definitely recommend filling in it, whatever, you have to fill it in before you go to the actual counter, because it depends. If there are plenty of people, you know that you will be waiting for 30 minutes or 2 hours or whatever, okay, do it there. But if you see that there are like 2 people waiting, it's likely that you will be called in before you fill in the form, and that can make some of the foreign police officers pretty angry because they tell you, you should have done this before, I cannot wait for you now, I'll take someone else, you stupid bitch. And yeah, that can get pretty unpleasant just because of that. So make sure that you fill it in before. And I'm saying this on purpose because it takes time, especially if you haven't done it before. Like we go there every week, with tens of clients. So we've done it a million times before. But if you haven't done it before, there are some things that might be difficult to understand, like your address in abroad. So what does it mean? Like I lived in the US, does it mean my US address, or is it my Czech address, or is it my like Spanish address because I lived in Spain? How should I write it? Like in the Czech way, so street number, street name, house number, city, zip code, or can I write it in like the Spanish way, or should it be in Czech, should it be in English? So it might take you some time to actually like fill it in properly, and that can piss off some of the officers. I've seen it happen. So careful with that. You need to have proof of accommodation. That should be ideally the same as what you used for your visa application if you go there with a visa. Because if it's different, then they will not be able to get you registered. Health insurance proof for non-EU citizens, that's generally a private health insurance, because at the point when you have to go register with the foreign police, which is 3 days after arrival, you will not have your public health insurance, even if you're employed or self-employed, whatever. So you must have the private. If you're an EU citizen, you can potentially use your EHIC card, the European Health Insurance card, or you can also buy the private health insurance. That's up to you. Both is fine. Then I definitely recommend bringing a Czech speaker with you, because it's a foreign police. You would kind of expect them to speak English. And I must say, or I want to say, that they're getting better, and there are people who actually speak English and want to speak English with you. Some of them even speak Spanish, maybe not English, but Spanish they do. But some of them don't speak English at all, or they don't want to, or both. And they could very easily make your life hell just because you don't speak Czech. So they could start shouting at you, send you home, ask you to come back again when you have a translator, and then they could fine you for coming late because it's more than 3 days now when you found a translator finally. Again, this is something, it might sound like I'm just making it up, but I've seen all these kind of things happen. Again, it's getting better. We've been doing this for 13 years, so we've seen a lot, and now it's getting better. But still, it can be very unpleasant if you come like right before they close. Then you don't have the form fill out, and then you start speaking English with them and they don't want to. That could make your life very, very unpleasant. So Czech speaker is always better. Ideally, obviously, someone who knows what will happen there, especially if you're in some specific situation. If you're an EU citizen and you take your colleague, yeah, that will work out. If you're a non-EU citizen and you've maybe overstayed a bit or something, then you don't want to just have your friend or colleague. You want to have someone, some professional who will like represent you there and know actually what to say. So you don't get into like worse trouble than you're already in. And patience, that would be the last thing to bring with you, because depending on your luck, kind of where you get there, you might be done in 15 minutes and you might wait there for 3 hours. So you need to have patience on you as well. There is no fee for the registration unless you are, for example, like just got approved for the business visa. In that case, you need a specific confirmation for the trade license office so they can activate the trade license, and that's a paid service, let's say, at the foreign police. So at that point you would need to pay for that. But if you don't need that registration and you're fine with them just telling you, okay, you've been registered, then you don't need to pay anything. But how it actually works there, I will get back to your questions, guys. If they are like related to the topic, I will just leave it for the end because we're getting there anyway now. So how it actually works at the foreign police is that you should ideally, or the steps you should take. Okay, first step, prepare everything in advance. Again, fill in the form, make sure that you have the lease agreement or the proof of accommodation. Make sure it's signed. Ideally that it's the original, or if you gave the original to the embassy, make sure it's at least like a good copy. Again, signed with all the details there, nothing missing, that it's still valid. Make sure you have the health insurance, that it's the correct health insurance for long enough. Have everything, have your passport, don't forget your passport. That happens as well, that you go to the foreign police and you don't bring your passport. So make sure that you have everything before you go there. Second, go to the foreign police, which is responsible for where you live. So again, inside of Prague, all districts are in Prague 3, in Žižkov and Olšanská. If you live in Prague Východ or Západ, Praha Východ or Praha Západ, then you have to go to a different branch. So you go there, obviously within opening hours, ideally. Then you actually go inside, which is basically you need to like walk the stairs and then you go towards the end of the building, and the last door on the left is where you need to go. You'll probably see people waiting there already if you come there when they're open, if you don't come like before they open, just to wait in the line. And you go there. If you have all the documents ready, you can go directly to the ticket machine. You choose the tourist registration. Even if you're not a tourist, if you come as someone who's got their visa approved, you still just take the tourist registration ticket and you wait until they call you in. If you don't have the registration form filled in and you maybe are a bit messy with the documents, don't take the number right away, especially if you see that there is no one else waiting, because again, that could piss the officers off, and that's definitely not something you want at the foreign police, to piss them off already when you appear. So in that case, just take 5 minutes, make sure everything is fine, then take the number. If you see that there are like 50 people waiting, okay, take the number right away and then prepare the documents later. Then they call you in, and call you in means sometimes that they actually call you into a small room where they sit with the computer and where they type everything. So you will be sitting there with them. Sometimes they just like meet you at the counter outside of the room, and they will take the documents from you, including your passport and everything. They will go themselves into their little room and they will type everything in and then bring you the documents back. Depending on your situation, they could also ask you some questions or a lot of questions, and it could get pretty intense. So you need to be ready for that as well. Again, if you're an EU citizen, you go there within 30 days, you have nothing really to worry about. They don't care much, or they couldn't care less, I would say. But if you're a non-EU citizen and you maybe go like the 4th day, be ready that depending on the mood of the officer, it can either they don't care or they could give you a very, very hard time. So again, better to have a professional with you if you go and you expect some potential trouble. Then when they type everything in, which usually takes like 10-15 minutes, depending on how fast and efficient with the keyboard is the officer, they give you all the documents back, tell you, okay, you've been registered, and that's basically it. Again, usually they don't give you any confirmation. They just tell you it's been done and you have to kind of believe them. But in case you need to activate your trade license, then you need to get a special confirmation from them. So don't leave before you get the confirmation. But obviously you should have told them before that you need that confirmation. They sometimes do trouble about that as well. They tell you we cannot do it or we will not give it to you, whatever. That also changes in time. So, but again, generally they don't give you anything, only if you need something specific for some specific authority. And if you work with us at Move to Prague and you go through any type of visa process, basically, foreign police visit and foreign police assistance is already included in the service. So if you order a student visa with us or a family reunification visa, business visa, employee card, whatever, going with you to the foreign police is already part of the service. So you don't have to pay for that extra. You don't have to do anything extra for that. We just like go there with you automatically. But if you don't work with us and you want us, for example, to only accompany you to the foreign police, you are an EU citizen or you've done your visa yourself and you're just not sure about the foreign police, we'll be happy to do so as well. We provide it as a separate service too. Okay, I think that's it. That's all the information I wanted to give you. Let's see now if the questions you asked are related to the topic, because if yes, I'll answer them. If they're not related to the topic, I will be doing another live stream, which will be open Q&A, where you can ask me anything, but it will be only for paying members of the channel. Paying, I mean like $8 a month, so it's not really paying, but you know what I mean. So, hi Anne, it's always great to see you. No questions today, but interesting to watch the live stream. Thank you very much for joining. Happy that it's interesting topics. Been a long time subscriber. Would mean the world to me if you could tell if I should give my worm a good tug. Any advice be so appreciative. I'm not sure what you mean. Let me like make a print screen, because it sounds like that you should I give my worm a good tug? Honestly, I have no idea what that means. So I will Google it and I might answer in the comments. In the student visa interview, they didn't ask me as many questions as I've heard about, so that's not related to the foreign police. Czech Republic is the worst in visa process. Yeah, I agree that it's not very straightforward and not very fast. Okay, so no questions related to the foreign police registration. So I'm finishing the live streams, guys. Thank you very much for being here. And again, if you want to ask me like live Q&As about any topic, I will be doing another live stream right now, but only in the paying members area. So if you're interested, join. I'll see you there. Otherwise, I'll see you Thursday, Monday, until the end of the world during these free topical live streams. See you guys. Good night.